Welcome back. I hope everybody's enjoying their night. By the sounds of it, you are. We'd like to get the program going, and I'm going to draw your attention to the screens here in just a moment. This is an opportunity to hear from one of our distinguished laureates from 2015. Many of you will recognize him as the co-founder of Costco, Mr. Jeff Brotman. Attention to the screen, please.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Brotman, chairman of Costco, and I'm here tonight as a laureate of the Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame, chosen in 2015 with my Costco business partner, Jim Sinegal, and I'm here to welcome the laureate class of 2017. Judy Runstead, Don Nielsen, Artie Burke, and Carl Benke each have contributed vastly to the business and the economy of this region. You will hear the story of each of them in the videos you will see this evening, and I want to say to them, you four are welcome additions to this Business Hall of Fame, and you are about to have the evening of your life. Enjoy every minute of the accolades because you deserve to be thanked for your contributions.
So let the fun begin. Junior Achievement created the Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, in 1987, in partnership with the Puget Sound Business Journal. The Puget Sound Business Journal is recognized as one of our nation's best business publications. I know many of you receive it and read it often. We all know if you want to know the story, you want to look for in-depth business coverage, the Puget Sound Business Journal is the first place that we go in our community, and others do as well. We're pleased tonight to have a representative from the Puget Sound Business Journal with us. Publisher Emery Thomas is here with us tonight. Emery has distinguished himself as one of our region's most respected leaders. He is recognized by the business community for both his vision and commitment to reporting quality news, so please help me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Emery Thomas.
Thank you, Marnie. We're here tonight to pay tribute to the accomplishments of 4 individuals whose business achievements have altered the face of our region. They're selected through a rigorous process vetted by an illustrious mix of current business leaders and past laureates. The 2017 Laureate Selection Committee members are Pam Pearson, Herb Bridge, Kirby Kramer, John Fluke, Mike Flynn, Woody House, Neil McReynolds, David Moore, and myself. The Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame recognizes the very best of entrepreneurship, something the Puget Sound Business Journal showcases and highlights in our weekly publication and online every single day. Each laureate receives 2 very special awards in connection with this induction. One is a plaque from the Business Journal, on which is mounted a reproduction of the article in the special Hall of Fame supplement that you have at your place tonight. And each laureate will receive that in the next few days. It's a replica of the plate that was used by our printing press to produce that article. The second award is a truly unique award as commissioned with Athletic Awards, a prism that represents the 3-sided partnership of Junior Achievement's economic education programs, business, education, and America's young people. As the tribute takes place tonight, please consider the values that each of our laureates embodies as symbolized by an eternal flame, the spirit of leadership and free enterprise. A very special group has been selected as the 2017 laureates: Artie Burke, Judith M. Runstead, Donald P. Nielsen, and Carl G. Benke. Tonight, we honor each laureate for the indelible marks you leave on Washington's economic landscape. Thank you all.
Find my spot. Thanks, Thomas. It is now my pleasure to turn the festivities over to the chair of the 2017 Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame. To assist with this, as is tradition, We like to have a little fun, so I'm going to bring a fourth grader up here who wanted nothing more than to meet this year's chair. So what better way to meet her than to do it in front of you? How intimate. Please join me in welcoming JA BizTown alum from Northeast Tacoma Elementary School, Kylie McDowell.
Good evening. Have you ever tried this ice cream? It's fantastic. I hope someday I can start my own business and be as successful as the 2017 Hall of Fame. I would even like to model my business after hers because she believes a business can be fun for all, for her customers, for her employees, and for her community. Her business model is all about her employees, just like we did at JA BizTown. She makes sure her employees are not only provided a good paycheck and benefits, but they also learn and gain personal and professional skills. It sounds like such a fun place to work. And they sell ice cream. What could be sweeter? Last year, Molly Moon was invited to speak at the White House Summit on the United States of Women. President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama were also speakers. She said many great things, but mostly she talked about women and families. You see, she's a role model for all women, all families, and little girls too. She said, when women's lives are better, everyone's lives are better. So good job, Molly. As a kid, I like Molly most for her ice cream. Last year, she sold $6.5 million of ice cream. Now that's really sweet. In JA, I learned about business concepts that are key to success. At Molly Moon's, their business is also based on key concepts and values. Be smart, be generous, be homemade, be joyful, and be brave. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the smart, generous, joyful, and brave owner and CEO of Molly Moon's Homemade Ice Cream, Molly Moon Neitzel.
Can I move the ice cream, Kylie? Yes. Okay. Hi, Kylie. Thank you so much for such a sweet introduction. It really is a pleasure to meet you. And congratulations on your JA BizTown accomplishments and on your stage presence here tonight. One of the best parts of being a CEO in Seattle is getting to meet young women like you and helping others to start their own businesses. So I hope this is not the last time we see each other. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give Kylie a round of applause. You can go ahead and take the ice cream. And now, let's begin our ceremony and honor our 2017 Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame laureates. I'm serving tonight as the chair of the 2017 Hall of Fame. I know in the Seattle business community, this is quite an honor. What I am most honored to do tonight is to share the stage with all of these amazing JA youth. Kylie, Roy, Kari, Cornelius, Gareth, Haley, Alexia, and Blair. All of them, all of you youth in the audience. You all have impressed me as I've gotten to know you, really to no end, with your dedication to your educations, your futures, and your communities. And I have no doubt that one of you will be on this stage again as a laureate in the coming years. Not all of the JA participants have the privilege in their lives that many of us in this room have experienced. It's a privilege to be here tonight, and I think it's incredibly important at events like this that we each take a moment to think about privilege and the role it has played in our lives, and how we might each be able to deinstitutionalize that privilege from the organizations and events we participate in. I know I'm here because Molly Moons has been successful. And with success comes huge responsibility. The responsibility to build the ladder for folks coming up behind us. For me, this means ending institutional racism and breaking cycles of poverty. I was born into poverty, but have overcome much because of great opportunities, and also because it's easier to succeed when you have white skin. I think it's important to acknowledge that. And that's the kind of thing that we mean at Molly Moons when we say be brave. Tonight, we are celebrating incredible people and the lives of 4 of our region's business icons. Their common thread among all 4 is their commitment to their teams and to recognizing and seizing opportunities. The 2017 class of laureates to the Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame, by all measures, are quite an illustrious group. And to help me present our laureates this evening, we have enlisted the assistance of some of these amazing local young people. Are you ready to meet our 2017 laureates, and I hope our 2037 laureates all in one night? All of the students joining me on stage are graduates of a junior achievement program. These programs teach young people how to be successful in business and life. They help plant the entrepreneurial spirit, in the young people who participate. This makes all of us kindred spirits. Our first student presenter is a high school senior who participated in the JA Finance Park Financial Literacy Program and is currently part of the JA Company Program. The modern day version of the original JA program started in 1919. Roy is from Roosevelt High School. Please welcome Roy Mason. Good evening, Roy.
Good evening.
So please tell me about this original JA program you're taking this semester, the JA Company Program. I understand JA has been around quite a long time, so what makes it relevant today?
That's a good question. It's true, JA has been around for over 98 years, but the fundamental concepts of teaching kids how to run and start businesses is still important in a modern world. And that is what is at the heart of the organization. I mean, do you remember all the steps you had to do to create Molly Moon's ice cream? Every detail you had to plan, every challenge you had to overcome?
Well, I remember a lot of it, and the most important part was trying to write this mythical P&L of the future. From projecting sales to cost of goods, the cost of labor, and the benefits to keep my workers thriving.
Well, those are the very steps that we had to take and learn as we started our own JA business. We had to analyze our market and select what product we were going to use, develop a business plan, and create implementation strategies, present to our board, create the product, and take it to market. The whole cycle.
I'm so curious to hear what product you chose.
Well, it's not quite as amazing as your ice cream, of course, but it's something that our market analysis showed to be popular with high school kids. That is, t-shirts with funny business sayings and slogans on them, like a saying from our very own Doug Farnell, "Pay yourself first."
I can see how a t-shirt business would appeal to teenagers. Maybe you should consult with our first laureate of the evening. Now, Mr. Burke knows a thing or two about running a business.
Yes, he does. In fact, Mr. Burke came to my leadership class and gave an amazing speech about entrepreneurship and business leadership. He's a great role model in the community. And to top it off, he went to my school, Roosevelt High School. Go Rough Riders.
Ladies and gentlemen, Artie Burke made a huge mark in business. He has inspired so many, and he truly has left an indelible mark on the thousands of people he has mentored throughout his life, including you, Roy. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screen to learn more about 2017 laureate Artie Burke.
Well, what got me into business was the fact that my dad died when I was 11 years of age, and we didn't have much money. My mother had to go to work back in her vocation, which was a switchboard operator at Boeing, and I had to find a job, so I got a Seattle Times paper route up in 95th and 35th was our shack, and one of my buddies from that was Mike Garvey, who also had a paper route.
I have a hard time remembering when I didn't know Artie. We went to grade school, junior high school, and college together.
And one of my great principles in life is building relationships with no family. All my friends became my relationships, and Mike's a good example, and he's been a friend for close to 70 years. Well, we moved out to the Roosevelt district at the end of World War II, and we were so far out that they had to bus us in. So we were the first buses, and we were brought into Roosevelt to integrate it, as I say, economically, because we had Nordstrom's and all the Windermere and Laurelhurst kids in our class, and so we were they called us affectionately the Hicks from the Sticks.
He pulled himself up with his own bootstraps, and he kept persisting in the face of obstacles. And he wasn't so afraid of failure that he didn't keep trying.
Well, not having been active at Roosevelt because of the busing, I decided when I went to the University of Washington, I was going to be hyperactive and really get involved. And so I went down before school actually started and signed up to be a football manager. When I was a manager, I got free football tickets, season tickets, and I sold those season tickets to pay my tuition.
Following graduation, Artie served as an officer in the Navy. He loved the travel, but the Navy didn't pay enough.
After the Navy, I went to the Harvard Business School. I'm in the same class as Don Nielsen, who's an awardee tonight.
So Artie, he was head of development at the University of Washington. In fact, he really brought the development process into being at the University of Washington.
At the time, they had just started private fundraising and were raising $40,000 a year with a $56,000 budget to raise the 40 with. So I saw this as a great opportunity for a Harvard Business School grad to build that up.
In 1972, Artie Burke is the Director of Development at the University of Washington. He is the godfather of fundraising at the university. He hires 4 people at once, and I was one of those 4.
I went to work over the next 10 years to build it up to roughly $20 million. Today it's $540 million, and this year, when it's over, will probably be close to $800 million.
Artie was a terrific coach for that small team. And over the years, after he left, and I was promoted, eventually becoming the Vice President for Development, Artie stayed in touch. He was first my boss, he was then my mentor, and he's always been my friend.
Chuck Barbo and Don Daniels recruited me primarily because of my fundraising skills, because I had been an investor with them, but they needed more investors in a broader range. And working at the university, I knew everyone that had a high net worth in the state of Washington.
He was making so much money as an investor and a limited partner that he figured out he should become a general partner as well, because he figured if he was making money, we were probably making money too, and he wanted to join us. Well, Artie deserves this tremendous honor not only because of his involvement at SureGuard, where we went from being a very small company into a very large company, but his involvement throughout the community, both at the University of Washington in the foundation work, plus in the business school and other areas, but also just his impact on people and the way that they have grown their businesses and the mentoring that he's done with a lot of people in the Seattle area.
One of the reasons that he should be honored in this event tonight is that he is the creator of the Burke Entrepreneurial Center at the Foster School of Business at the University of Washington. If I were a young man today with desires of being an entrepreneur, I would be attracted to that center like a moth to a flame.
Our basic desire was to take advantage of the fact that 45,000 of the brightest kids in America are coming to the University of Washington campus. And our concept was to have those students, no matter what their major, get involved in learning to start a business.
And he has built successful businesses. He has contributed to this community. And this whole region is better off because of Artie Burke.
Congratulations to 2017 laureate Artie Burke.
Now join me in welcoming to the stage 2017 laureate Artie Burke.
Well, I have to thank everyone here. This is my turn to stand up and thank everybody that got me up here, because you don't get up here by yourself. The first person, though, I'd like to thank, or actually thank, is God for giving us a day that was the warmest since last September. Next, I'd like to thank Junior Achievement for the things they do in personal finance. I taught a course at the University of Washington for 14 years in personal finance, and I can tell you it's one of the weakest elements of America. Americans have a problem called too much of the month left over at the end of the money. It's a very common thing, and I think that Junior Achievement is out to help solve that problem by teaching kids about money when they're young, because there are no classes in grade school, high school, college, the Harvard Business School. They don't teach personal financial planning. And it's estimated that about 2/3 of all Americans reaching age 65 are dead broke. That means they've got Social Security, they may have a modest pension, but they're really not equipped to live out the rest of their life. So I think Junior Achievement's work in this area is incredible, and I urge everybody here to support that. The second thing I'd like to do is congratulate the other winners tonight, because I have a feeling that we're coming in as a team as opposed to individuals in a lot of respects. You saw in the video that Don Nielsen and I go back 56 years, starting at the Harvard Business School. Melissa fixed this starving Harvard Business School student good meals when I got tired of dormitory meals. It's amazing. Judy, Dawn, and I have worked in public education in Seattle, I think, for close to a quarter of a century. We worked on the Foster Board together. Carl's mom, dad, and uncle were the ones that really got private fundraising off the ground at the university and allowed me to take on that marvelous $40,000 with a $56,000 expense account to raise the $40,000. It was really a great opportunity for a Harvard Business School grad. We did learn about that thing. So I think that we are a team, and so I think it's really fun to come in with these people, and it's a great experience. Third, I have to thank Chuck Barbo and Don Daniels, who's deceased, but Chuck Barbo for pioneering self-storage in the Northwest and in the United States of America. I mean, Chuck is an incredible entrepreneur. I don't even think he knows the word risk exists. I do, so we are a great combination of risk, forward pass, Hail Mary, and risk averse, who kept track of everything and helped build the company. But we took a small company from Tumwater, Washington, to the New York Stock Exchange, and Chuck ultimately took it all the way to Paris, France, and London, and Europe. And SureGuard still exists in Europe today, owned by Public Storage. And in the United States, it's all public storage. So Chuck, if he hadn't hired me, I wouldn't be up here tonight. So thank you, Chuck, very much for giving me the opportunity to be up here tonight. The next thing I'm often asked, who are your mentors? Who are your great teachers? Who are the people that really made you what you are in life? And I have just one person that has done that for me. My hero is my beautiful bride, Sue Burke, who's out here in the audience. You don't get up here without a supportive spouse. There's no way any human being can stand up here and be successful without a supportive spouse. Sue, is incredible. She raised the kids. I was always working. She worked full-time herself, and she worked at Foster & Marshall. She worked at Nordstrom and worked at the UW, so she had some very challenging jobs. She's incredible. She also traveled with Chuck, Linda Barbo, and myself all over the nation, and in fact, we went all over the world, developing a network of financial planners and stockbrokers that helped raise roughly $750 million to get SureGuard really off the ground and get it going. So I have to really tell you that she is absolutely my hero, my love, and I think the greatest person in my life. It's great being first tonight because I can talk as long as I want, and everyone else has to make up for it. But I would like to pass along a few words to the younger people in the audience about leadership, because America really needs leaders right now. And leaders don't wear ski caps, stocking cappings over their face, and burn down buildings in Ferguson, Missouri, and trash Berkeley and Portland, Oregon, and Olympia, Washington. Leaders don't wear masks. And I think it's critical that our younger people start to become leaders. And the first thing in leadership is you have to learn to lead yourself. If you can't lead yourself, you're not going to be able to lead a team or a company or an organization of any kind. So learning to lead yourself is critical. And learning to lead yourself, you have to know who you are and who you aren't, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your likes and dislikes are. That's the first thing, to really understand yourself. The next thing is to develop a concrete set of personal values. And that means they're carved in stone, just like the Ten Commandments. And I was thinking today, how do you describe that? Well, your personal values should be so strong that it's like your little GPS system on your car. If you get off I-5 going north at the wrong get off point, Serenity on your GPS comes on and says, go to the next light, do a U-turn, get back on I-5, and head north. And I think your personal value system has to be exactly that strong. In working with entrepreneurs, the other thing that's really critical in leadership is having a passion. Finding your passion in life, and if you can find that, then you know that work and play are one and the same. You can work 24/7. If you love what you're doing, it doesn't seem like work and it seems like play. Last but not least, I think the most critical thing for everybody, and it's probably true of even anybody in this room, is learning to set a goal. The goal is a very simple thing, but a goal has to be in writing. It has to be measurable, quantifiable, and it has to be time dated. Now, they did a study at the Harvard Business School on a class, I think it was a class of 79, and they asked all the graduating members of the class if they had written goals, goals that weren't in writing, or no goals. 3% of the class had written goals. 13%, I think, had goals but unwritten. 84% of a graduating class from Harvard had no goals. They went back and they measured them again at their 10th reunion. They found out that the 3% that had written goals did 10 times as well as the rest of the class. So I think it's very critical for anybody in here that's young to learn, one, to be a leader, two, learn how to set goals and get them plugged into your system so that they're autonomous. If you do, you're going to be an incredible success in life and whatever you want to do. Again, thank you all for the award. I appreciate it greatly.
Congratulations, 2017 laureate Artie Burke. As I have come to learn a little bit about tonight's laureates, one thing really impressed me. All of them have a common thread. Each saw the same need and was very passionate about supporting education at the very highest transformative level. Our next laureate is no exception. To help me introduce our next laureate is a student who takes her education very seriously. She is a JA Finance Park alum and senior from Seattle's Cleveland High School. I've also gotten to know Kari a little bit more tonight, and she started her first business when she was 10, and it's still going. Please welcome Kari Hayru to the stage. Good evening, Kari. I was so impressed with you taking your education very seriously.
Thank you.
And your young entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
I have lost my place. Now more than ever, taking your education is important. I understand you're involved in many extracurricular activities. Tell me, how did you keep up with schoolwork while being so involved?
Well, you could say a lot of the activities I pick and choose are usually to help shape me as a person and build me as I grow older. And so I really want to push myself to evolve, and those are the programs that I choose and to participate in.
Great.
You could take my role as the content manager of my school newspaper. I take the writing skills I learned from there and I apply it to my essay writing, my writing assignments, and just being a leader. And then also being a leader in my community and being a leader in my Black Student Union at my school. So it's really important for me to strengthen and just kind of bring people together within my group and just making sure people understand the importance of knowing your truth and knowing who you are is very important. So we also discuss important topics, social issues, economical issues, political issues, to really inform students about what's going on in the world and just being a well-rounded person. So.
That's impressive. Great job.
Thank you.
You sound like a very well-rounded individual. So tell me, have you looked into your crystal ball?
Of course. So actually, I already thought about retirement.
What? Interesting. A high school senior already thinking about retirement. Tell us more.
So at JA Finance Park, I learned the importance of just knowing what retirement means. And so there's a high percentage of Americans that are so close to retirement age but still won't be able to retire. So at Junior Achievement, it gives you some facts. It teaches you the lessons of just simple compound interest to the importance of budgeting. And so I think budgeting is just the foundation of securing and making an enjoyable retirement.
We can all learn a lot from those words. In your assigned life situation at JA Finance Park, were you able to set aside money for retirement?
So my life situation was not uncommon. I was a single mother of 2 children making less than $30,000 a year. Many other students thought, wow, that's a lot of money to have. But I knew and understand you cannot marginalize on $30,000 a year. So it was really important for me to figure out a way to budget and make this the most out of it. My mother is actually single and has 3 children, so I learned a lot from her on how to budget for both my needs and wants, and retirement was definitely a need. At JA Finance Park, I concentrated on paying off my credit card because without paying off my credit card, I wouldn't be able to save.
Great job, Kari.
Thank you.
There are a lot of people who can learn a lot from you. So what are your plans after high school?
I have been accepted to both Howard and Temple University. And I have made my decision on Monday. I am moving to Pennsylvania and going to Temple. I plan on majoring in business and communications, particularly journalism. Awesome. Thank you. A good education, as well as civic involvement, are values that are mutually shared with our next laureate, Judith Runstad. Also, her passion for elevating women is also mutually shared. As a leader in my community, it's important for me to hold myself to the high standards that I want to be and knowing my truth and expecting other people to know their truth as well, so that Black women can be elevated and celebrated also.
You are already doing that, Kari. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screen as we learn more about 2017 laureate Judith Runstad.
It wasn't possible to interview Judy for this video, but she wrote this about her formative years. She says she was raised in Fruitland, Idaho. The advantages of growing up in a small town were anything you did came back to you. Ultimate accountability. If something were to get done, chances are you had to organize and do it yourself. You had to create your own excitement about the world outside, because other than radio and one newspaper, the world did not come to you. I found the world through voracious reading. Our little town didn't even have a library, so my mother would drive me over to Payette or Ontario to the tiny libraries there. But it was enough to open my eyes to all the opportunities waiting out there. I worked from the time I was 12 or 13, paper routes, picking crops, hoeing beets, working in the corn cannery, working in a bakery, etc. Even though I hated some of those jobs, they taught me time management, about working with other people as a team member, and they taught me I wanted an education so that I could do something else.
Judy is a great role model for JA students. She grew up in a small town, and when she went to the university, it opened up the world for her. It inspired her and created her curiosity to learn and do more things, and it just shows no matter where you come from, you can make such a huge impact in the world.
Judy was co-managing partner of the law firm for several years, the outward-facing partner. She was the face of Foster Pepper to the community. It's her professional reputation and her involvement in the community that's unparalleled that has benefited Foster Pepper and benefited the community.
I admire Judy tremendously. She is a force of nature. She's a very important leader in this community. When Judy started her career, it was challenging for a woman to even get a foothold in business. She managed to build that career through both grit and determination and also intelligence and insight.
When I think about the traits that have enabled Judy to be successful in business, law, everything that she does, Judy is a tremendous listener, and she's a person who speaks up. She's a can do, will do, let's do it, and let's do it now. She makes things happen. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why she became the first female managing partner of a major law firm at Foster Pepper.
My relationship with Judy started more than 40 years ago when I was a graduate of law school studying for the bar exam, and she was actually one of the seminar leaders teaching a course for the bar preparation. So that's when I first met her. I actually interviewed with her when I applied for a job at her law firm. Did not get it. Ended up working in the King County Prosecutor's Office.
The Kingdom and CenturyLink Field are effectively bookends for Judy's career as a land use lawyer. Here we are today taping this at CenturyLink Field, and for Judy this is hallowed ground. In 1972 or 73, she got the permits to build the Kingdom, and then in 1998 and 1999, she got the permits to demolish the Kingdom and build CenturyLink Field, and for her that was quite a spectacular thing to do.
Well, Judy is really one of the unsung heroes responsible for saving the Seattle Seahawks. When I was county executive, she invited me to her law office, and that's where I met Paul Allen, and we started talking about the possibility of him stepping forward to buy the team, to keep it here, and to really keep it as this incredible treasure that we now so much enjoy. But it was really Judy who really brought us together. Without her, who knows what would have happened to the Seattle Seahawks.
Judy has been a tremendous mentor and advisor to me, and we both shared a passion around elevating women in the workplace and in the community. And so back in 2011, when the Wells Fargo Washington Women's Roundtable was created, Judy became an advisory board member and part of the council. But also, we worked together and looked for ways that we could bring women together, and such as the Wine Women and What's Happening, which Judy created over 10 years ago. Both of our organizations have been co-sponsoring this event, and it's been a tremendous opportunity to elevate and celebrate the women in both of our firms, as well as our client and our community.
Judy has been a leader in everything she's done. She has been a driving force in so many important projects in this community.
Judy is so deserving of this award because of her so many contributions to this community. So much of what we take for granted today in our daily lives, whether it's the stadium, art museums, education, government services, the success of our businesses here in the Puget Sound region, they all have Judy's fingerprints on them.
When it comes to her professional practice and her civic engagement, Judy is the whole package. Amazing. She has come quite a ways from being the small town girl from Fruitland, Idaho.
Congratulations to 2017 laureate Judy Runstad.
Join me in welcoming to the stage 2017 laureate Judith Runstad.
Thank you all so much, and thank you, Kari, for that introduction. Having spent a little bit of time with you at dinner and listening to you talk, I know you're going to go a long way. You're smart and you have heart. And those two characteristics will carry you far, so we hope you'll come back to Seattle after your college career and contribute to the community. And thank you, Molly, for emceeing this. Molly is my hero. How anybody could make ice cream so sexy. I mean, it's like everybody wants to go to Molly Moan's ice cream store. It's I couldn't get into this dress if I spent a lot of time at your store, but at any rate, also want to thank the selection committee. It's a wonderful award. I want to thank my colleagues at Foster Pepper there, with whom I've been, I think, there 43 years. I'm looking at Gary Fleur. I think we were in the same class together. I know we were in the same class together because he was the editor-in-chief of the Law Review, and I was an editor, and we had these desks that sat across from one another, and Gary spent his entire time pushing his entire mess over into my side. And some things have never changed. He has to have 2 offices now, one for his mess and one for his desk. But they have been incredibly supportive all these years that I've been out running around doing other things. They've been sitting in their offices doing great legal work and also doing a lot of work out in the community. And I am so proud of Foster Pepper's commitment to the community. I think one example, Joanna Boyson, who heads up our pro bono program, has a domestic violence program, and it's 60 attorneys strong who stand ready to help people when they get in trouble in that area. She's also, yes. She's also been incredibly active 24/7 in this recent immigration crisis. So I think that the culture of our firm that Tom Foster actually started, and I was fortunate enough to be able to carry on, carries on loud and clear and as well. I also want to thank my family members here, daughters Stacy and Kaylee and their husbands Donald and Tony, and granddaughter Savannah, and most of all my husband of 40 years, John Runstad. You know, when you think about it, he's the real entrepreneur. He started a company 40-some years ago. They built millions and millions of square feet. They built Husky Stadium. They're about to reinvest in this marvelous Rainier Square that's going to revitalize downtown Seattle and the Spring District, and the list goes on and on and on. But mostly, he's been incredibly supportive of me. So, the first reaction, you know, when you get told that you're going to get an award like this is amazement, because there are so many people that deserve it. And then, you know, your susceptibility to flattery sort of takes over, and you sort of say, well, okay, maybe I could do this. And then you realize that you're really a representative of the incredible talent and energy in this Seattle community. It's just an amazing, amazing city to work in and to live in. And this has really come home to me recently. Right now, as we speak, Seattle is hosting for the first time in 20-some years the Urban Land Institute, which is 3,600 movers and shakers of the real estate industry around the world. And they're all here. They all wanted to come to Seattle so they could see, you know, this incredible city that we've built, and see our buildings and our convention center and our symphony hall and our sports venues and Chihuly Gardens and ice cream stores and all of these great things that have happened in Seattle. And the list is endless. And all of these are the product of vision and courage and risk-taking and hard work. But the heart of each of these endeavors, and this is where JA comes in, are the fundamentals of finance, income and expense. And Junior Achievement is preparing these students that are in the audience tonight to be those visionary leaders by giving them the basic tools of learning how to build fundamentals, income and expense. It's real simple in theory and very hard to manage. But in building that, we're building that next generation of students that I think will be up here 20 years from now, and we will be indeed awarding them the Laureate Award. So I want you students out there to become an advocate. I want those of us who didn't even know that we could volunteer in this organization to think about spending a few hours doing it, because I think we have something to tell. And we're just excited about all the great things you're going to do. And one thing I would ask you as students to do is remember along the way the people that helped you. And many of them are in this room tonight. So thank you all very, very much, and good luck to the students.
Thanks. Congratulations. Kari will carry your award. Ladies and gentlemen, 2017 Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame laureate, Judith Runstad. To help me introduce our next laureate is a student from a school district near and dear to this laureate's heart, Seattle Public Schools. He is a JA Finance Park alum. Please welcome another senior from Cleveland High School, Cornelius Cambronero. Good evening, Cornelius.
Good evening, good evening.
Before we introduce our next laureate, I have a couple of questions for you. So my understanding is that JA Finance Park is all about managing finances. Is that right?
Correct.
So you were asked to put together a family budget as if you were an adult on your own. I was told your scenario was that you were married and had one child. What was that like?
When I saw how much money I made, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake, but I was truly caught off guard a little bit. And I was a little bit shocked because, there's so much responsibility being an adult. And JA Finance Park was a huge wake-up call for me, but it truly helped me prepare for what lies ahead. Because, you don't really learn things like this in a normal high school class. You usually learn about photosynthesis and the quadratic equation. And then when you get out of high school, you're like, what am I going to do with all of this? Like, why am I, But, JA teaches us how to use all of this in the real world, and, it teaches us how to prepare for life.
So, Cornelius, were you inspired? And I hear that there's a term in JA or a phrase, will it stick?
Well, I've started budgeting my money now, and I'll be off to college next year, so I've started saving as much as I can. Preparing for success needs to be on the mind of every single kid. And that is one of the reasons why I'm passing on what I learned in JA to my little brother.
And does your little brother listen? Does he follow your advice?
Yes, he looks up to me because I made it a point to be a leader for him. And for me personally, I didn't have much of a role model through junior high and high school, especially entering high school. So I wanted to make sure he had guidance, and he motivated me to be a leader.
Motivation and leadership. Those are two very powerful words. What can you share with us about what you define as a leader?
Well, the first thing that I did is I started living by some of the values of some of the leaders that truly inspire me. And I lived by something I heard one of our local leaders say, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, say. He said that as long as you are always prepared, you are never scared. And later on, I took that to my campaign to become president of the whole student body at Cleveland High School, leading nearly 850 kids, and I'm proud of that.
That is great leadership. It sounds like you have a lot in common with this next laureate.
Yeah, I have more than leadership skills in common with him. Not only is he a junior achievement alum like me, but like our next laureate, Don Nielsen, I am passionate about giving back to the community and providing leadership to organizations that help future generations. Now I just need to follow in his steps, and maybe I'll be in the 2035 JA Hall of Fame.
Good plan, Cornelius. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screens to learn more about laureate Don Nielsen.
Well, I was very lucky to be born from two parents who are Danish immigrants. And they went through the 8th grade, which was the norm in Denmark at that time. And when they came to America, they knew that if my brother and I were going to be successful, we had to have an education. So they insisted that we work hard and study hard.
Well, Don is very well grounded. He's proud of who he is. He's proud of his family. He's proud of having been the son of immigrants from Denmark. He's proud of having grown up in Ballard.
I started at Ballard High School as a freshman, and I just moved to Ballard. So I thought the best way to get involved with the school was to turn out for football. And I was excited to turn out for football. And I went down and turned out for football, and the coach took one look at me and he said, "Nielsen, go home and grow." And I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. And that's what caused me to change directions, and I got involved with junior achievement. Changed my life.
Well, in baseball, there's a term called a gamer. And a gamer is a guy who comes every day and gives his all to the game. And it doesn't matter what happened the day before, he gives his all. And that is a wonderful description of Don.
When Junior Achievement started in Seattle in 1952, and I was in the very first class, and I stayed 4 years. I was president of 4 different companies, three of which were successful, one of which was a miserable failure. And quite frankly, I learned more from the latter than I did from the former.
Don and I met each other in the late 50s, maybe 1960, at the University of Washington. We were both students. He was the president of the student body, and I wasn't.
My faculty advisor was my finance prof. And one night he and I were having dinner, and he said, "Nielsen, you ought to get an MBA," he said. And I said, I didn't know what it was. I had to ask what an MBA was. And so he told me. And then he said, you should go to Harvard. And I thought I should go to the moon too.
Don and I became friends when we were both graduate students at the Harvard Business School. And he was finishing his MBA program. I was just beginning a doctoral program.
After Harvard, Jim Garrison introduced Don to fellow laureate Kirby Kramer. They became a legendary business partnership.
Well, Kirby wanted to start a company and take it public. I wanted to start a company and build it into something meaningful. And we met and decided to do it together, which was a great decision. Turned out to be a great decision. And we got into the laboratory equipment business and soon recognized that the real opportunity was in the laboratory testing business, not the equipment business.
One of the interesting things about entrepreneurs is they take tremendous risks, but they don't realize it. Don is exactly like that. He takes tremendous risks over his career, but he didn't realize it because he was so convinced that he was going to succeed.
The company that we just bought had revenues of $5 million and costs of $6.5 million. You didn't need a Harvard business degree to know you had to cut $1.5 million out of the company. We took the company over in middle of November, and we had until January 1 to get it profitable. And so we did. And then we had an all-hands meeting 2 days before Christmas, and I said to the employees, if you have not been let go, you have a job. Go home and enjoy your families, come back ready to build a company. And they did, and at the end of January, we had a profitable company.
You know, Don deserves to be in the Business Hall of Fame because he's a natural-born entrepreneur. And his entrepreneurial pursuits have created opportunity and jobs through his business career and created opportunity for kids in Washington and here in Seattle to improve their lives through a sound public education system.
He and his partner Kirby really created an enormous organization in a space that was not getting much attention, healthcare, and they did it on 3 continents, 5 or 6 countries, and created enormous amounts of jobs and brought serious money into an area that we all benefit from today.
Although Don's business success allowed him to retire at a young age, his lasting achievement is an absolute dedication to transforming our public education system. In fact, he wrote a book, Every School, that presents a roadmap for improving education here in Washington and throughout the United States.
Well, for those of you in JA, you are already way ahead of everybody else. I encourage you to pursue your business dreams because it's a great, great career, and you can make an inordinate difference in the lives of so many people if you can go out and build a business and make it work for yourself and your employees and your customers. It's a wonderful thing to do, and I encourage you to do it.
Congratulations to 2017 laureate Don Nielsen.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage 2017 laureate Don Nielsen.
Mommy, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Cornelius, and thank you, Molly. I relate to Cornelius because when I was in junior achievement, I was about his age. And as I said in the video, I was CEO of 4 different companies before I was 17, and it totally changed the trajectory of my life. And so I'm extraordinarily appreciative to junior achievement. And I encourage you, Cornelius, to have the same thing happen to you that happened to me. And Molly, I have to say to you, you are doing what I would have loved to have done. If I had it to do all over again, I'd start an ice cream store, you know. My family and I think ice cream is the second best invention since the wheel, you know. I mean, we love ice cream. Well, let me say thank you to Junior Achievement and to the Puget Sound Business Journal for this wonderful award. I had no idea it was even being considered, let alone appointed or selected, and I'm truly grateful. There's a lot of people, and I'm also grateful to serve or be selected with my colleagues, Judy and Carl and Artie. Those are 3 wonderful people for our community, as you've heard. They've done wonderful things for all of us, not only in business, but in public service. And I think that's just a testament to them as well as to what we all stand for if you've been in business in Seattle and care a lot about your community. I also want to say thank you to the 3 people who were in my video. Mike Garvey's been a friend, as Jim Garrison has too, for over 50 years. I owe them a great deal, not only as friends, but as mentors. And Steve is a new friend, but he's become a real supporter of my efforts in public education, so I want to thank him for participating too. There was one person that wasn't in the video that should have been, and that was my lifelong business partner, Kirby Kramer. Kirby was diagnosed with cancer a few months ago and underwent a very serious operation, and then has been treated with chemo for the last several months. And he was still in treatment when the video had to be made, and so he couldn't participate. He was down in California. But about 7 or 8 days ago, according to Kirby, his doctor gave him a hall pass. And that allowed Kirby and his beautiful bride of 58 years to join us here tonight, as if they've flown up from California just for this event, and I want to recognize Kirby. Kirby, stand up. I also have to say that I want to say a big word of thank you to my bride of 56 years. She has been my love, my partner, my support system, and also one of my biggest critics. And you know how wives can do that. They keep you shaped up all the time. But she's been a wonderful, wonderful wife. And she's given me 3 wonderful children, 2 of which are here tonight. And they, in turn, have given us 7 even more wonderful grandchildren, so it doesn't get any better than that. So we've been very blessed. But going back to Kirby and I were partners for 18 years, as you heard. And one of the things I would say to the young people tonight, if you want to go into business with a partner, pick somebody that has complementary skills to yours, and pick someone who you trust and respect. And that was Kirby to me, and hopefully that was me to Kirby. And together it was like 2 + 2 = 5. And we were able to do things together that we would never have been able to do alone. And that's the beauty of partnerships. It's also the beauty of business. And one of the things I want to share with the young people tonight is that business is not a zero-sum game. You know, Kirby and I started with just he and I and an assistant. And when we were done, we had 2,500 employees in 14 locations in 5 countries. Now, that's an amazing story in by itself, but what's beautiful about it is it can happen again and again and again, and it does. And that's the beauty of the business world. And those of you in junior achievement, I hope you'll use the learnings that you're getting in that program to think seriously about starting a business. And I would say to you, you don't hear this very often, but business is a very high calling. And I say that because business is the source of all income. It is the source of all employment. It is the source of all taxation. It is the source of our economy. And without business, there is no economy. And without an economy, we don't have much of a life. So going into business is a big deal.
And the other big deal about going into business is the beauty you have, the wonderful opportunity you have to create jobs for other people and to have your employees and their families have a future because of what you did. So take some risks, be innovative, be imaginative, and go for it. That's what Kirby and I did, and it worked for us. And then if you're really successful, maybe not even so really successful, but if you're successful, then I hope that sometime in your life, you'll seriously think about public service of one type or another. Run for a public office, maybe get involved with some nonprofits, or even become an engaged philanthropist. I don't care what it is, but be aware of your community and the needs around you and go for it. In my case, I picked public education. My goal in life still to this day is to transform our American public school system. Now, I haven't done too well on that regard, but I'm not dead yet, so there's still time. But I think pick a passion for your business and then pick a passion for your public service, and you will be very successful in everything you do. And again, let me say thank you to all of you for being here tonight and for this wonderful award. I am really honored. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, 2017 laureate, Donald Nielsen. Our final student presenter is no stranger to junior achievement programs or junior achievement events. You will remember him from last year's Hall of Fame when he held his own with Mariners president Kevin Mather. He's a big fan of the Mariners, a big fan of bow ties, and a 6th grader from Pacific Cascades Middle School. Please welcome Gareth Black. Good evening, Gareth. Welcome back to the Hall of Fame stage. You must be a brave young man to present in front of this many people 2 years in a row. Where did you get this impressive confidence?
Well, it's a long story, but in a nutshell, here's how it goes. I was lucky enough to go to JA BizTown last year, and some of you will remember my job as a graphic designer at Super Graphics. After going through the JA BizTown program and experiencing some of the JA special events, like Hall of Fame and Dare to Dream, it really got me thinking hard about my future.
They say you can never be too young to start setting the course for your future. Gareth, can you pinpoint for me how JA BizTown and the JA events have impacted you?
Yes, that's easy. At JA BizTown, we were given a lot of responsibility. We learned that if we were going to have a successful business, it is in our hands. It is up to us. We were encouraged by many adults throughout this process, telling us that we can succeed. And it made me realize that if I take responsibility and work hard, I can make my wildest dreams come true. Now, at the JA events, the adults gave me so much inspiration with the simple, "Good job, kid," or complimentary words. So that's where I get my confidence, from each and every one of you. Now, I have a question for you, Miss Molly Moon. Could you adopt me? I love ice cream. Just kidding, Mom. Where did you get your confidence to start your own amazing ice cream business?
I think I got my confidence from a combination of two things. In my young life, I experienced a lot of adversity. I was neglected as a small child, and my birth mother gave me up. Then I was adopted by incredibly loving parents, and I had a Silicon Valley venture capitalist mentor for the last 13 years. So I've sort of had the best of being put through times that make you stronger, and support and mentorship. And I don't think I would be as confident as I am without both of those things in my life. I'm supposed to say something very specific right here. Do you think our next laureate Carl Banke used his confidence to his advantage, Gareth?
Absolutely. You have to be very confident and responsible to run so many wildly successful businesses and to serve on such important boards of directors. And most importantly, to wear bow ties.
Well, Gareth, I understand that bow ties are also a part of your personal brand.
Yes, for sure. Even to JA Biztown, I chose to wear a professional black suit and topped it off with a brilliant red bow tie. Just like Mr. Benke, a bow tie is the only neckwear you'll find me in. You see, there's a certain magic that comes from wearing bow ties. But Mr. Benke and I will talk to you about that later. And before I finish, Mr. Benke, any chance I can borrow some of your bow ties?
Something tells me, Gareth, like Mr. Banke, you are going to have all the confidence in the world to make your biggest dreams come true. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screen to learn more about 2017 laureate Carl Banke.
So I was fortunate enough to grow up in a family that had deep roots in our community. And we had owned several businesses over the years, and they provided me a lot of leadership and mentorship.
Carl went to public high school, and he always has strived to be the best that he can be.
Be it in sports, be it in academics, and then afterwards in my work experience. And so I think that I was driven by the family that had high expectations. I was fortunate enough growing up to be a football player and play on winning teams. In junior high school, we were undefeated. High school, only a couple of losses. And in college, at Princeton, we only had 3 losses. This taught me teamwork, hard work, and how important it was to be successful and achieve.
If he takes on a challenge, whether it was football at Bellevue High School or getting into Princeton, which in those days was not something everybody got to do, and after Princeton to stay involved and go on, he was in the service, he went back and went to Harvard Business School.
I first started with Alpac working summers as a truck driver, and I certainly learned the basics of the soft drink industry then.
When he started to work for Alpac, he had various sales and marketing and operational experiences.
When I started full-time after business school, I went to Hawaii as a sales manager, and then came back after a year and a half and worked in Seattle, and after about 8 years became the president.
One of the challenges that Carl would have faced as becoming the CEO and president of Alpac was to prove to himself and to the family and to the board that he was ready and capable to be the CEO of Alpac.
During that time, we acquired other franchises. We acquired 7-Up in Honolulu. We'd originally had Pepsi, and that made us a lot stronger. And all of this was put together with the Seattle, Tacoma, Alaska, and Hawaii. And it made us the second largest independent Pepsi-Cola bottler at the time.
When Alpac was sold, Carl really wasn't willing to retire. We had both been working, and we talked about what could we do in the community, how could we start another company. And we bought one little store, Sur La Table, and started building a company.
When we started Sur La Table, it was a business of about $2.5 million, and I'd been operating a business in excess of $500 million. And I was a fish out of water, not knowing anything.
Carl was always a bigger picture guy and was not going to sit with one little store. And we immediately started looking at possibilities to roll the concept out. And within a few months of purchasing Sur La Table, we opened a store in Berkeley, California. And I think from that point, full steam ahead.
And then over the next 15 years, we went from the one store to 90 stores before we sold to somebody else.
Carl is an approachable manager and leader, and genuinely concerned about his employees, and actually he was generally concerned about the welfare of the community and people in the community as well.
Carl Benke, for a number of years, has been an incredible contributor to the Hutch in the aspect of member of our board of directors, helping us to set our mission and make sure that we accomplish that mission.
I think when I look at all of the bright young students that are here that are representing JA today, I realize that it doesn't matter where you came from. Carl always has believed that if you work hard and dedicated yourself, you can get to whatever it is in your dream that you want to succeed at.
Probably what I most admire about Carl is that he truly wants to make the world a better place. And he thinks that it's his duty and his family's duty to make that happen.
When you know how to win, you know that it's important to have teamwork. Teamwork is absolutely the most important thing, to be able to work well with other people and everybody join to be successful, because you can't do it by yourself. You have to do it with everybody pulling along at the same effort.
I think Carl really has worked hard and deserves this award, and maybe it's a reward for all of the energy he's given to the community. And also, he's always been there for everybody else, and it shines through.
Congratulations to 2017 laureate Carl Benke.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2017 Puget Sound Hall of Fame laureate, Mr. Carl G. Benke.
Thank you. Gareth, back here. You know, I brought 3 ties for you. I knew that you wanted some more ties, and now you've got at least 3 more. Congratulations. Gareth, the one thing you have to be careful of, I've been tying bow ties for so long, I don't think I can tie a regular tie anymore. Well, it's an honor and a privilege to be selected as a Hall of Fame laureate. I really want to thank Junior Achievement and the Puget Sound Business Journal for making this possible. I think we have a great class this year. I've known Judy, Artie, and Don for many years, and each of them have been an inspiration and have made great contributions in our community. There are many people that I need to thank for giving me the opportunity to be successful. First and foremost is my greater family. My great-grandfather came to Washington in the early 1900s to own and operate the world's largest lumber mill, Port Blakely Mill Company. At the start of World War I, he formed the Skinner and Eddy Corporation, a shipbuilding company. And he built 72 steel steamships in 3 years. It's a record that still holds today, and it was to support the war effort in World War I. The family moved from shipbuilding to salmon canning in Alaska, where we were at one time the largest salmon packing company in the world. We then formed Alaska Steamship so we could bring those canned salmons down to the lower 48. And Alaska Steam was the first commercial ship line to use radar after World War II, as they went through the Inside Passage. And we also invented containers so that we could easily deliver things to the small villages up in Alaska as opposed to the normal bulk delivery. There have been many other businesses over the years, each employing many people and contributing to our community. We allocated 2% of our profits to the Skinner Foundation and then turned around and supported the community and organizations where our companies worked. One company that the Greater family still owns is Carillon Point in Kirkland, a mixed-use real estate company. I encourage all of you in Seattle to visit Kirkland sometime and see Carillon. It's very special to Renee and I, that is where we were married, and we were the very first event at Carillon Point when it first opened. The business success has allowed my family to have the time and resources to contribute and lead many of the important civic, arts, and health organizations in our community. While I was growing up, my aunts, uncles, and parents were leaders in many of the most important organizations in Seattle. Their commitment to community leadership inspired me to excel in all of my endeavors, from school to sports to my work opportunities. I need to thank my coworkers, and many of them are here, from Alpac Corporation. And Alpac, as we said, was in the soft drink business and became the largest Pepsi bottler in the country, reaching as far as Hawaii. And you heard I had to go to Hawaii for 2 years. It was a real burden. And Alaska. And then I especially need to thank my wife, Renee. When the Greater family sold Alpac Corporation, the Benke family purchased the one Sur La Table, and we bought the one kitchen store at Pike Place Market. Renee had a retail background and is a great cook, and we had a great team that we put together. We were able to build it into 90 stores over 15 years before we sold that business. We still have a small investment in Sur La Table, and I'm on the board, so I keep up with what they're doing. My daughters, Meryl and Marissa, are here tonight with their husbands, Corey and Ryan. They now have the responsibility to carry on the family tradition of community service. Finally, I need to thank the many companies and organizations in the community that have given me the opportunity to serve. From the Commerce Bank of Washington to the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, the Pacific Northwest Ballet, the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, and the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance. I've had the privilege to help these important organizations over the past 25 years. The one board where I have the most tenure is the Junior Achievement Board. I joined the board in 1981 and served as chair in 1985, which was 2 years before the Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame even started. I am the second in my family to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. My uncle Ned Skinner was inducted in 1990. Over the past 36 years, JA has grown from 4,000 students to today there's over 120,000. And this week, as I was visiting with my first grade granddaughter and teaching her spelling, I asked what she was doing, and she said that she's having JA in her school. And I said, well, what did you learn? She said, I'm learning the difference between needs and wants. So it all comes around. So we have several JA kids with us here tonight, and I want to encourage each and every one of you to set your goals high, to work hard in everything you do, and remember to always build a team. Teamwork is so important to your success. So thank you all very much.
Congratulations, 2017 laureate Carl Benke. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight every person in this room has been a part of something very special. We have inducted 4 new laureates into the Puget Sound Business Hall of Fame. These laureates inspire us, and I suspect will help inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. Again, congratulations to each laureate, their families, and friends. Now let's welcome back our MC for tonight, Marnie Hughes.
Thank you. I'm going to wrap up tonight, but we'd like to end with tradition, as we have for the evening. Thank you to Molly and to all of the JA kids, and also congratulations to the laureates tonight. It is so impressive and truly inspiring to hear each one of you come up and talk about leadership and teamwork, and I know that it has a huge impact on the kids who are here with us this evening, so thank you for that. I also want to thank our sponsors once again for all that you do, and also the many volunteers. Some of them are in the back of the room, and they've been helping this program move along. So a round of applause for yourselves and also for the hard work that these people do to make this happen. I would now like to welcome back to the stage the Royal Blues Quartet. They were so good once, we want to have them back up. Also, I would like to invite our 2017 laureates, so would the four of you also please join us on stage for these final moments of tonight. So our tradition here each year is to celebrate the laureates, but also in the evening, to the point I was making earlier about how fortunate we all are to live in this wonderful country. And so they're going to sing America the Beautiful. They'll sing the first verse, and then I would like everybody to join in to sing the second verse as we wrap up tonight. So, guys, you can take it away.
Skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Thank you all for another amazing evening. I was trying to push the mic away so you couldn't hear me sing. Thank you. You guys are incredible. Congratulations to our laureates. And before you leave tonight, I have a bit of breaking news. David found his dog tonight on Nextdoor. So thanks again. Have a great evening. Be safe out there, and we'll see you all next year.